Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Everton Daily Live. It's the day that we've talked about for ages.
Yeah.
It's finally here. The final day of PSR hell. Also, the final day of two players we were still waiting for contract decisions on. We obviously had Seamus Coleman last week, Friday, confirming he was remaining at Everton. We then had the news that we sort of all knew anyway, but confirmed yesterday that Dominic Calvert-Lewin will be leaving Everton. So before we talk about the other two, I mean, Dom, we've been sort of expecting this for a year. Let's be honest, for a year. He stayed a year longer than maybe he would have done had he been able to agree those terms with Newcastle. But he did confirm yesterday he was leaving. Sort of made it sound like his wife had made the decision in this thing. It was a family decision, which is fair play. Which is fair play. So what are you? I know you were on Sky yesterday, but what are your thoughts sort of today that it's done and where don't you want to see him rocking up holding the number 9 shirt?
I don't really care.
No, not really bothered.
It's done, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's time to move on for everybody.
Yeah.
And he's made this decision, and that's fine. That's fine. He's made it, and it's no real shock, is it? It's no shock at all. So, listen, I'd love to see him go to somewhere like Italy and test himself somewhere like that. But I get the feeling that he probably wants to stay in the Premier League, and I think someone obviously who maybe wants to play in London, I'd imagine, or wants to live in London, certainly. So, I could see that happening, him playing for a London club. There's a London club that play in claret and blue that would probably be the kind of team that would be looking to pick him up at the moment. Because
it's strange that to me if he went there, but
then
I suppose there's only depends what his options are, doesn't it? West Ham's available, then I'm not sure why you go there, but if he wants to play in London or whatever.
Lifestyle's a big thing in it, though, isn't it? Lifestyle plays a big part in it. Living in London, you can just you've got a different sort of lifestyle. I think very much if you live in London, and you can disappear into it. I think. So
I do think he'll go to West Ham. I've said that for the last week or so. I just felt as though he'd end up there. Well, I do think it's a bit of a, considering what he was saying in that interview, I'd say right now, and of course I'd say right now it's a huge backward step. But sometimes you've got to take a step back to go forward. And see, if I'm Arsenal, I'd take him free, and they don't have strikers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then you go and get your proper striker in you want, and you'd have him as backup, and he's a good option. It's a good pick-up for someone who's free.
And he might see it like that, mightn't he? He might see that he can offer one of those clubs something they haven't got, not as a first choice player, but and those people would fans of those clubs would probably would ask the question, well, what are you talking about? But if you haven't got a certain type of player, and every squad, I think every squad needs all kinds of players.
Of course you do.
For different eventualities. I think personally that he would be on a free. You see that you maybe see less of this here, but you see it more abroad where clubs. Chelsea collecting players. Jesus Christ. But you can understand clubs collecting a certain type of. We've seen it with Real Madrid only a couple of seasons ago, having Joselu up front, helping them going on win the Champions League. There was games where they needed that kind of player to come off the bench, that big centre forward to come off the bench and provide something that they didn't have. And you can bang the door down with all these silky, skillful players, and sometimes you just need a raw instrument. I'm not saying he is that player as such. I'm just talking about in general. And maybe those clubs would go, you know what? For the wage, for the experience, obviously you'd have to look at the injury record, but why not? he has to weigh that up with if he was signed by a West Ham, where for the next, say in his 20s, I don't imagine he'll be playing in Europe for them for the next couple of years. So it's whatever he wants, and it's whatever him and his agent can come up with, whatever the options are out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, listen, he was a good signing for Everton. I know people want to have a go with him. That's fine. I'm not telling anyone how to think. But when you're paying between $1 million and 1.3 million for a lad who goes on and makes 274 appearances for you and becomes your third top Premier League goal scorer, and for that amount of money does well, then I think it was a really good signing. And you wish him the best. When you see, like, why would Arsenal want DCL? Because they don't have a striker. That's why. They don't have anyone. So it's about a squad, isn't it? What about Carabao Cup games and FA Cup games, or Europe if they need something? It's about putting the squad together. It's not about buying first choice players all the time. It's about having a squad. So he'd be something totally different to what they've got. That's why. It amazes me when people can't see the whole thing. Yeah, but everyone sees it differently, don't they? Everyone sees it differently. But good luck to him. Yeah. Good luck to him wherever he goes. He gets my respect. I hope that's what he asked for. He just wanted respect. And there you go. I think he did well over time. There are 2 to go. Yeah. One far more pressing than the other one, of course. Idrissa Gueye and Michael Keane. I think Idrissa Gueye will sign. I really do. I think that'll be announced tomorrow.
I think they'll both sign.
Do you think Keane will sign? I was going to say, I mean, he hasn't done his goodbye, has he? So, who knows? I know he's got a few clubs who are interested in him. I don't know. You calling the Pistoni, Michael Keane? Will he leave and then sign?
No, I think he might sign.
He'll sign another year.
I think he might sign.
It'd be interesting, isn't it? It'd be interesting if Keane does stay.
I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying.
No, I just don't see a problem with it. For me, it's the same as the Dominic Calvert-Lewin one. You have to go out and replace these players, and we already have a lot of players we need to replace. And it's, there's a lot of money involved. And I just think having him as a 4th choice centre-back isn't an issue. Yeah. It really isn't an issue. It's not, by the way, it's not blocking any young player either, because there isn't a young player. There isn't one ready to step in. So if Michael Keane got a 1-year deal, let's say, or a 1+1, the club have got the option, then I could see that making sense, because there isn't a young player coming through, and you don't want to be going out spending money you don't need to spend right now on another one. So why not just get him in for another year? You've got your other 3 there, and go with that. To me, that's just common sense. That's why I thought keeping Dom was the same. Common sense, as in having to bring more and more players in. The rebuild effectively starts tomorrow. And hopefully it does start in earnest. But if Michael Keane stays for a year, then I've got no problem with that. I really haven't.
If you're him, though, wouldn't you think he'd want to go somewhere where he may well get played?
Yeah, but I'm not looking at it from his point of view. I'm looking at it from our point of view. No, I don't mean that in a horrible way. I just mean I'm looking at it from our point of view. As a player, of course, he has to look after himself. Yeah. But what if Everton offering him a 1+1 is the best option he has?
Yeah, but that's fair.
Do you know, what if it is?
That's fair. I'm just saying.
Settled, maybe, enjoys it. Okay, yeah, you're looking for that first team football, but
I just think for him, 32, if it was me, I'd want to play. Personally, rather than just going, I'm number 4 and I might get the odd Carabao Cup game or even in an emergency. Whereas, sure, there's clubs who would play him.
Of course.
And he'd get it's about your career, isn't it? But you're right, he might, when it comes down to it financially, he might look and Everton might be the best thing for him. As in, he sort of just trains and gets a decent wage and then is available as and when. FC 18 7, he says, doesn't matter if Arsenal don't have a striker, they want to win the league, so why would they sign Dom? It amazes me you can't see the whole thing, but sound, mate, sound. Opinions, innit? It's opinions. It's all about having options, which they don't have, which probably cost them the league title last season because they didn't have any options anywhere. They need, I'm not saying he should be the number 1 striker, of course I'm not. They should be going, and Arsenal need 3, they haven't got any. They need 3 strikers. They're in loads of competitions. They don't have a decent striker. And that's a big failing of Mikel, a huge failing of Mikel Arteta. But strikers come in different forms. You want your best, of course, go and try and get the best he can. I don't know who that is. Benjamin Sesko. He's hardly pulled up any threes. Loads of potential, but he's not doing it. Who else can he go and get? Gyökeres. He paid 70 million for a 27-year-old who no one fancied in England a couple of years ago. Possibly. Who else could they go and get? Tony, bring him back, but he's on crazy money. Would he take a pay? I don't know. But if you're looking for a free transfer of a Premier League striker who's experienced and play with his back to goal, good in the air, might give you options off the bench, then why wouldn't you go and bring that in and just have him as number 3, number 2, number 3, whatever, just as a different type, and then work on your real targets? That's what I would do. But again, like I've just said, everyone sees it differently. That's fine. Alex says, at this rate, Keane is second choice for the number 9, to be honest. Yeah. Gaza Blue says, Baz, what about Diarra going to Sunderland? Have we missed out? Well, we haven't missed out because we didn't go for him, did we? Because obviously the money that you're getting quoted for him, maybe David Moyes just thought, well, paying that for him when he's unproven. But I think he's a good player. I think he's got lots of potential. Chelsea had a look. Of course they had a look. And I've swerved it for now.
Yeah. Let's get him on the flip side.
Well, they'll just get him next season, won't he? If he does well. So Sunderland have obviously decided happy to pay over 30 million for him. And I think he'd be a good signer for them. But we'll have to see what he's like in the Premier League. But he looks like he's got a lot of talent. But you can only really miss out on players when you go for them, can't you? Never didn't go for them, sadly. I think there's been other windows, and that maybe it was more of a Kevin Felwell, Dan Purdy type player who they really liked. Because they had a look at him last August, and I think his name popped up again in January, but Everton didn't really want to do anything with it. So just have to wait and see. Hopefully he'll go there and do well, but you never know, do you? You just never know.
It's just breaking now that Villa have agreed to sell the women's team to a holding company, V Sports, and a stake to prominent US-based investors. Villa say no issues regarding Premier PSR rules and advanced talks with UEFA on resolution to FFP compliance.
Fair play.
So that's what we'll be doing next. Why not?
All do we? Everyone else is doing it.
Yeah, you can do it, do we?
Chelsea set the thing, didn't he? They set the precedent for it, didn't he?
If you're not breaking any rules, then get on with it. If it's a way for the club to, be able to spend money and stuff, then get on with it.
Why not do it? Yeah.
They've got a ground to go with it. So
you've got to play, haven't you? You've got to play.
No point
the game that everybody else is playing.
No point sitting around complaining about what everyone else is doing when they're moving ahead of you. You've just got to get on with it.
Yeah, why not? CRT Blue says, I've heard rumours we're selling our women's team.
Yeah, but you've ruined it by saying, but that was on Facebook.
Yeah, don't never say where you've heard it.
Yeah. And never, if it is Facebook, then just never say those words. Ever. No,
when do you think we're just going to there tomorrow? What do you think?
Well, we'll have to. Well, I suppose I don't mean we don't have to, do we? I mean, they've become frees, and Idrissa Gana Gueye is the one everyone wants to see getting over the line. It's just a weird one that the Idrissa Gana Gueye one hasn't been sorted by now. I'm not saying you just give him what he wants, but if you've made him such a priority to re-sign, then you're probably going to have to give him pretty much what he wants. for the importance of him. And I know people, listen, should his age matter? Well, it has to matter in terms of like recovery and stuff, doesn't it? If he was to get an injury, obviously you can't help the fact that he's going to the African nations. That shouldn't play any kind of part in whatever decision. But I think we'd all just feel better if it was done, wouldn't we? And then we can move on to the next thing. I think we would have all thought that it would have been a pretty straightforward.
It seemed, didn't it? Yeah.
Just because he wants to sign and we want to sign him.
Must be the length of contract, wasn't it, really? Before we carry on, happy birthday to James. He's not in today.
Yeah, he's off.
But happy birthday, James. I'm sure he's not even watching. But if
he shouldn't be watching.
He shouldn't be watching.
No, he shouldn't be watching.
He'll be
having a carvery or something.
Sure he is. Gary Ball says, howdy.
Carvery for breakfast.
Paddy wishes James happy birthday and says, needs a sign. Needed Drista to sign so badly. Sean Reed says, my first live as a Premier member.
Oh,
welcome,
thanks.
Sean. Nice one. Steve P says, Habib Diarra joining Sunderland just proves how big the pull of the Premier League is. So when players say they'd only want to leave to go to a team playing in Europe, I don't believe it. If he genuinely went after Bakayoko, who said the same thing in the past, he'd 100% come. Of course he would. This is what I was saying the other week, Steve. These people go, we've got no chance of getting them. Of course you have. Of course you have. Chance of getting everybody if you're prepared to pay them the money.
The wages, just tripling the wages.
Exactly, they're coming. Because a lot of them will come and go, coming here and, hopefully to get a move on again. So you've always got an opportunity, definitely. Benjamin Fairclough says, all right, lads, we need that Barry shirt behind you. Or behind Baz, ASAP. Feeling more likely it'll be Tierno joining soon, doesn't it? It does feel like a lot of the noise is sort of saying he's going to come, isn't it? So, be good to get one done, absolutely it would. Paul Davies says, with regards to the new kit, I hope Everton have the Everton lettering, as I don't want Premier League symbols on my shirt.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know whether I don't know. You have to find out. I don't know. David Earl says, what about Fulham with Marco Silva for Dom?
Yeah,
London,
maybe.
Free, no pressure.
Maybe, yeah.
Paul Williams says, happy Monday, lads. Hopefully this week will be a busy one with new players coming in. Exciting times and all the best to Dom. Wish him all the luck in the future. Next one, Paul. Ethan says, I see Juventus are letting Douglas Luiz go on the cheaper end. Leeds are going after him. Well, Everton should 100% be going after him, in my opinion. He's only 27, loads of Prem experience and very skillful. I'd have him. I think he's a really good player.
Yeah.
Derek says, hi lads, really hope we go all in on Malik Fofana, lightning pace and Tom Fellows as his backup. Need to get motoring on transfers. Hopefully Barry done this week. We need midfielders as well, but Fred, Longstaff and Souček aren't the answer, as there no improvement on what we've got. Mark Mack says, I like DCL, wish him all the best, but hope he goes abroad, Italy or something. Anyway, let's start signing players. Agreed. Steve P says, Brighton selling Barco to Strasbourg for only €8.5 million seems mad, especially when they paid 8 for him themselves. I've not been too impressed with them since Ashworth left, not gonna lie. Yeah, I don't know why it's cheap, why it's so cheap, but maybe they're just happy to get the money back on that one. Don't know. Thomas says, glad to see the back at Dom. I know you lads backed them, and anyone that didn't think he was good enough got told they had an agenda. And I don't agree with that, by the way, but fair play. Like Tom Davis, but he had one good season and then been injured non-stop.
I mean, that's just not true at all. That's just not true, because he scored 10 goals from when Dunk came in, and then with Carlo, and then the next season scored 21 goals, and then scored 3 goals the first 3 games, and then he got the injury, and he's just never been the same player since the injury. You can literally chart with, the curve, and then the curve just stops when he gets the injury. And that's just they're the facts. So, you can say he had one good season, but he scored the 10.
Oh, he was on an upward trajectory.
Yeah, he was on an upward. The injury stopped it. and he's never been able to get back to that.
He's played 61 times in the last 2 seasons, though. He has.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's never been able to get back to that.
No, I'm saying to Thomas,
Yeah.
I'm saying he has, like, constantly injured. I get it. If you don't think he's good enough, no issue. I've got no problem. He's not a top striker for me. He just isn't. But he's a good number 9 if you want. It's good to have in the squad. Do Everton need better than that? Of course they do. They need someone who puts the ball in the net at the top end of the pitch. But he has played. I know he was out a bit this season, but he has over 60 times in the last 2 seasons. It's not constantly injured. The first 2 after the injury, obviously, he only played 18 in each of those seasons, didn't he? But he comes back, gets fit, and the first thing he does is get his agent to start sniffing around other clubs. And this year, when they were interested, they asked for 160 grand a week when he's half the player he was 4 years ago. Could hold up the ball good in the air, but can't shoot. Every fan should be allowed their opinion. They are. It's not. Okay. Thomas, that's fine. We just read comments out, and I always say, everyone have your own opinion, but when people are in the comments shouting or abusive or just saying stuff that isn't true, you can leave it, I suppose. And we do let a lot go. I've got no issue. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, me and Ped have disagreed on Calvert-Lewin over the past. Disagreed last year when he got left in, not the season just gone, the season before. I couldn't understand how he was playing. I really couldn't. He went 5 months without a goal as a striker. That's shocking. It's absolutely dire. There's no way he should have been in that team. And I said that, if you watch this show regularly, I said it most weeks, he needs to be taken out and be put on the bench. So it's not like I like him. I think he's been a really good signing. Everton need someone who they can rely on. I don't just mean being fit, who they can rely on putting the ball in the back of the net at the top end of the pitch. Everton should always strive for better. I championed Beto last season. We disagreed on Beto last season. I've backed Beto all the way. So if you give him chances, he will score. But if you offered me a better striker than Beto, I'd take it right this second. Tierno Barry could be well better than Beto in a year. Go and get him. Go and get me someone who's better than Beto. I've got no issue with whatsoever, because that's what we all should be striving for. That's all. Paul Robinson says, the sad thing about all this is the club have been so badly run for so long that it had to persevere with the idea that Dom was the answer. Oh, that is a really good point as well. We had nothing, and he was, I've said this, and I'll say it for as long as I watch football. There's no one who should be your number one striker year after year after year, unless it's like Erling Haaland and they are scoring crazy amounts of goals. There shouldn't be. Nobody should be thinking, I play every week no matter what. Can't be like that. For a successful team, they don't do it. Successful teams make tough decisions. Man City have just done it with De Bruyne. He's still brilliant. He'd still do a job for City this season in the league. Mightn't be every single week, but they just gone, no, it's time to change it now, and he's gone. And that's what Everton need to get. That's where we need to get. TC Lid 88 says, with the right service, Dom will do well. He had proven that. Felt bad for the lad under the other fella. He had no chance. No, he had no chance of scoring goals under the last fella. Jesus Christ. It'd make you want to take up Crown Green bowling dates. Good luck to him at Leicester, by the way. Good luck to Leicester. More thingy. Blue Keeley says, do you think the club chooses when players announce they're leaving?
No.
No, I don't think it's in there sort of. I think it's in the club, the players' hands, isn't it? I think. So he said, make me think Michael Keane might be staying. He might be staying.
Well, Everton, don't forget, Everton haven't announced that Dominic Calvert-Lewin's left, have they?
No.
So,
I imagine that'll be sometime.
No, I know, but I'm saying they haven't announced that. Dom has announced it. It's over 24 hours and Everton have announced it. They have announced that they've signed a promising Dutch midfielder for the women's team.
Great.
But that's it. So they haven't announced that he's leaving. So it's...
What did he do with Decore? Did they ever?
Yeah, I think they did it sort of
like the next
after
day?
his announcement,
Was
didn't
it?
he?
Yeah,
They did it. So they haven't even announced that. So I imagine tonight, Everton will... But then what do you do? Because if they still haven't agreed anything with the Disagana guy, I mean, they'd have to put Dominic Calvert-Lewin has left the football club, blah, blah, blah. We wish him well, blah, blah, blah. And
Should they have done a little sad goodbye bit, though? With like sad music behind it and all that.
I don't know.
Eddie says, every day that passes, the less confidence I am about Garner staying. Yeah. Tom S says, do we know if there's any updates on Teddy, or are we just waiting for tomorrow to see what happens? But the only thing I'd seen was the Echo the other day said Everton's position was he'd agreed to join. And they
apparently Everton's contract is still better than Fulham's contract. And, Everton will not be moved on it.
No.
And that's the end of it. So Everton have offered him the contract, and that's the end of it. Apparently, the guy's come in is a very tough negotiator, and
which is what we want, don't we?
Yeah, and will not be ad off on it. I even heard last night talk that we might have missed out on a player because he is so tough.
Someone good.
The lad who's gone to Burnley, left back.
Oh, him.
From Holland.
Yeah. Sure, like.
But that's what I'm saying. He's like such.
That's it though. If Everton, if we're trying to squeeze if we're trying to make our money work,
yeah.
And it's frustrating, isn't it? Because you want play. The minute we get players, and I think people will relax a little bit. But you're trying to use the money. We've all bemoaned it over the last few years, haven't we? The no money, so we can't.
And that's the other side of the Dominic Calvert-Lewin argument, and that's the other side of the Michael Keane argument is you offer players a little bit of money to stay, rather than because you've looked at the market and the players. People might sit there now and go, "Oh, Michael Keane staying," or forget Dom, but he's gone. But Michael Keane, you might be thinking to yourself, Evan might have assessed the market, looked at it, and gone, right, we want a fourth choice centre back. So we're either buying very young or we're buying experience. Because who in the middle's coming to play for Everton who to be fourth choice centre back? So it doesn't even matter about wages. Who is coming to be fourth choice centre back? Not just like, oh, you can be the backup and then you've got a chance. Like, you are fourth choice. Yeah. So Everton look at that and go, there's no one out there. There's no one out there. So they go, right, let's go back to Michael Keane, sit down with him, have a chat, see what it would take. Is he going, or is there something? Because at his age, you're right. You want to play, but the flip side of that, you might be like, I don't even know Michael Keane's situation. I don't even know if he's got kids. Has he got kids?
Yeah.
I just remember him going to America and he was on his own. So I don't.
Oh, he's got kids.
No, he's got kids. All right. So he's got
at least one.
He's got. Let's say he's got a kid. Let's say that kid is in school. Let's say they've got a nice house. They like where they live. His missus is happy. Yeah. He's happy. And the football bit is just like he's past that now. He's past that idea of playing in the Champions League. He's played for England and all that. So I'm happy here. But you use the other side of it, like, but you know what, I want to play. And Everton go, yeah, well, is an extra whatever on what we said we were going to give you. Not on what you were on, but what we were going to give you. Because you don't say this, but you internally, like, we've looked around and we actually can't find anyone as good as Michael Keane with the experience right now. There's no young player coming through. It gives us a little bit more time to have a look around, because obviously, even if Blanfleet signs a contract, in 12 months' time, people will be sniffing around them. But James Tarkowski will be a year older, even though I expect Everton to give him another contract. Yeah. And it's always moving, isn't it? It's always moving forward. So if you give so that's the reason to just go, do you want to stay and be fourth choice? And you might go, yeah. Because you know what? I know at this club, I will get chances now and again. I know the manager likes me. I know he's professional. I'm professional. And you know, that's it, isn't it? That's it. And that's what I'm saying about, sometimes you have to take all that into consideration and not just, you shite him, just get rid of him. Just get rid of him, he's rubbish. It's just like, what else is there out there? And where do we really need to be looking to buy players? And where do we want to spend our money? We want to spend our money in the right midfield. and a centre forward, and probably another midfielder. Well, definitely another midfielder, I'd say, and not have to really worry about spending money on defenders.
Yeah.
So,
Stephen Dyer says, not sure if I want a 32-year-old player who's got to the point he's willing to take a huge pay cut to be fourth choice because he's happy. Isn't that summing up a total lack of ambition from him and us?
So you want him to have ambition to leave Everton? Or do you want his ambition to be, this is the club I think are going in the right direction? Has he got ambition if he wants to play for Burnley? Half knowing he's going to be relegated? Or do you want the ambition to be, I'm going to fight for my place at Everton? I don't know.
I think from our perspective, as in Everton's perspective, it's about trying to keep the, like we just said, the money at the top end. How do you get a fourth choice centre back? You don't buy a fourth choice centre back who you think wants to get into your first team if he's going to be fourth choice. You might get one for 3 or 4 million who's in Europe or something, and you think he's 25, he's not bad. But we want better than that anyway, don't we? So we've got Tarkowski, we've got Branthwaite, we've got Jake O'Brien.
Yeah.
Now, unless you go and spend, and I know they like, and Moyes has watched them, he likes Esteve at Burnley, and he looks really good, but you'd have to pay 30 million for him. Yeah. Are we going to commit £30 million for him to be sub right now? Yeah. Or are you going to go, we'll keep an eye on it, as long as no one goes for him, let him have a season in the Premier League and see what he's like, and then next summer we go and buy him, whether or not Branthwaite, who knows what happened with Branthwaite. Yeah. Everton might do really well, and Branthwaite's like, I'm happy here. We go and get him anyway, Esteve. It's just difficult, isn't it? It's difficult.
But we're not talking about long term here. We're talking about 1 year.
We've got to get to.
We're talking about 1 year.
It's got to be almost be 2 rebuilds, hasn't it?
It's we were talking about this last week. It's got to be. There's the now, and then we have 12 months of, having a real look, getting that recruitment team together to have a real look, get out there and start putting a strategy together, which is 2 and 3 windows, looking forward. And listen, I don't believe Michael Keane's I've made my feelings known on him, but I fully understand if Everton go, just say to him, do you want to just stay for a year? We'll. Don't think there'll be any promises made, but the likes of the Carabao Cup and stuff, it's,
well, it'd be up to him to get in the team for those, wouldn't it? That's the thing. I don't think you can start going. You're exactly in the Carabao Cup.
It'd be great if there was European football, because then you can, and then maybe you want your fourth choice to be a little bit more down the road. But I just think the amount of players Everton need to bring in, and this is sort of my argument with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, is you can't bring in 11 players and them all be this certain level of quality.
No, no chance.
It's unrealistic. All right, for someone like Chelsea right now, that is realistic, isn't it? Money seems no object. £2 billion approaching, that kind of thing. Money's no object, but for Everton, money is an object, and we can't just go from there to there straight away. And also, we shouldn't either. We should be clever about what we do in this window and in the next window. You don't want to blow your load all in one go, but also you just want to keep that. You want to have players who are you're going to steadily build, but also, as we've seen with other teams, if you put that money into the right areas that really affect what's happening on the pitch, then you can jump up that league. But the fourth choice centre-back isn't going to move the needle either way. So if you can just go, we've got one, and he's staying for a year, I think that's just common sense, personally.
John McCulloch said he was fourth choice this season, and he got opportunities. Yeah. He did.
Yeah.
He played, don't forget, he played in the last 2 away games. They were 2 difficult games, Fulham away and Newcastle. Well, we won both of them.
That's the flip side of it, right? You're fourth choice, but there's 2 positions. So
you've got to go with both, haven't you? But we'll see. Listen, we don't know, do we? We're just saying.
Yeah.
We're just saying.
My opinion, that's...
Well, Everton have also, apparently, there's James Tarkowski, there's James Garner, and there's Vitaly Michalenko, who've got a year left. So Everton need to sort of, I imagine Tarkowski will resign. Think there's anything about James Garner? I think Michalenko will resign. No, I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm not saying you should be delighted with him or you're not. Well, what I mean is, James Garner,
if Everton handed him 4 years and he didn't take it,
he's mad.
Yeah, your words, not mine. If he can't, yeah. Michalenko's exactly the same. And James Tarkowski will be exactly the same because of his age.
I think he's
he'll sign. He's club captain. Well, team captain.
Roman Dixon, someone's just mentioned. Roman Dixon
isn't a centre-back.
Is not going to... No. To be fair, Dave, it's Dave Johnson saying, why don't we just get a player that can play left and right back? That's young. Maybe play Dixon at right back and have a young lad at fourth choice in the youth. We haven't got anyone who could come in and be Everton's fourth choice centre-back playing in the 21s, mate. There's nobody who's fit, who's performing at that. It's a huge step, like crazy. And if Michael Keane's fourth choice last season, like he wasn't played, I think he still probably played about 18 games or something last season or whatever it was. I know Dyche played them sometimes, so that probably boosted it. But just right now, there's nobody you could go, he's got a chance. Roman Dixon, I don't think Moyes looks. I think for him to even be considered, he'd have to go out on loan for the season and prove that he can A, stay fit, and B, do it. For Moyes to have a look. Moyes just won't. He's not hanging around. He's trying to do things quickly, but sort of assuredly, so he knows what he's getting, but he wants to cut the years.
Yeah, the other thing about it is that a player going on loan demonstrates to the manager that he wants to take the step up, and people putting him on loan demonstrates that he's ready to take another step. And I think the manager, I don't think is going to be looking at players in the under 21s because the standard is just not good enough. You've got to be going out on loan and then getting reports on that player. And obviously Harrison Armstrong has obviously made that decision, signed the contract, went out on loan, and they're obviously delighted with him. And he, seen Lee Molyneux posted yesterday, he's been working with him in the gym and how strong he's looking. And again, that's the other side of it, isn't it? It's your summer and you're getting out there and you're in the gym and you want to be strong and you want to be in a position where you're going to be fit on day one. When they come back at the end of the week and they do the testing, you don't want any red flags. You want, Mike, look at this lad, he's ready to go. That's professionalism now. That's a level of professionalism where people look at you and go, what have you been doing in the summer? I mean, I don't know what anyone else has been doing because they could all be working hard, and I hope they are. But that coming back first day and showing that you're ready, and the doctors and the physios and everyone else looks at them going, the manager's going to look at them because he looks at everything. He's going to look at that and go, he's been working hard this summer. Let's give him an opportunity. They see players and they're like, what have they been doing? Nothing. But you do see most players now using the summer to keep as fit as possible. These little training camps, going to Miami and doing that. I think Jack Harrison was actually with Carlos Alcaraz over the weekend.
Florida.
Yeah, so...
I think Jake O'Brien posted. He was playing for Ireland 3 weeks ago. He posted training videos already. You're like...
Because that's the level of professionalism you need now. That's the edge you need. Because everyone else is doing it. So if you're not doing it, you're already below them. So... I think players have got to play. If anyone in the under 21s believes that they should be trying to get into the first team, they should be knocking on the door saying, I want to go out on loan, because you're not going to impress anyone playing for the under 21s. If you've been there for a while, by the way, as well, because I think it is that Harrison Armstrong, you come into the under 21s and pretty much straight away the coaches already know you're ready for that step up, and that's the way mostly happens. I don't think players sit in the under 21s and get like better. It just doesn't happen. It really doesn't. You have to get that loan.
Emma's just said, "What's this about Roma needing to find 13 million by tonight?"
Yeah, they're selling Tammy Abrams to Turkey.
To do with the wage bill.
No, it's FFP for UEFA.
FFP for UEFA.
Because they've already been hit 2 years ago, 3 years ago when they spent all the money with Mourinho.
So
There's a super chat there, and I'm not allowed to read it. So
really, you can read it.
I can't because it's about me.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I can't really read it. No, I'll be like,
is it praising you?
no, it's calling me. No, it's not. It's not.
I mean, I can't even see it on mine, so you'll have to read it. Oh yeah, I've got it. I think. So just bear with. Slow. Go. I can't even see if it's off. It's off. Daily Freckles.
Daily Freckles.
Thank you very much. Just wanted to say, well done to Ped on Sky Sports. Very well represented, mate.
Thank you.
Well done.
See, I couldn't say that myself.
Well, I mean, you could.
No.
Yeah, so it's a FFP thing, Emma. It's not.
But it's with UEFA. So
there's a difference.
They find them ages ago when they give Mourinho all the money. And yeah. Tammy Abraham's going to Turkey, apparently.
Yeah, 20 million. Brian says, what do you think about Thomas Partey on a free from Arsenal?
No, thank you.
No. Still other stuff hanging over him, so I'll just leave him for now. Bappy says, any news on the Roma PSR? We've just talked about it. Any chance of getting Toffee? Don't think so. James says, if we do sell the women's team or Goodison, do it before they change the rules, Everton. Yeah. Kev Maloney says, definitely shows Moyes isn't going to be a pushover in negotiations. I think it's Nick Hammond's not going to be a pushover, but yeah. Frank says, afternoon everyone. Sad to see Dom leave. Thanks for the Crystal Palace goal, but I think his time is up. We need to move forward, and I think we'll see a number 9 coming who shocks us all. Okay. Arsenal will be a great move for Dom. I think he'd thrive there. Anyway, back to us. I think Garner will re-sign today or tomorrow. I think we'll see a steady stream of players coming in this week, ready for America. Then onwards and upwards. I kind of hope that's perfect optimism and not wishful thinking. Sell Goodison to the ladies team, splash some cash. If others are doing it, let's follow suit. He's got his ticket for the Roma game. Purchased this morning for my boy and me, so onwards and upwards. Can't wait for the season to start with our first ever season tickets. I hope a top half finish and, dare I say, a successful cup run. Fair play. Frank, enjoy. Mark Mack says, Harvey Elliott, would you? Not for 50, 60 million, which is what they want for him. Graham Lloyd says, afternoon toffees from a smoking hot Spain. Dom to Villarreal, Philly impending. Barry Void. Yeah. Stay hydrated, Graham. Warnings around Spain today for our.
Can I just go back to the Roma game? I think it's a bit weird that they put the Legends game on after the first game. That doesn't make sense, does it? People are just going to get off, and I think that's really disrespectful.
Unless Totti's playing.
No, if Totti's playing, I'm
Totti and Dunker playing.
No,
I know.
I just find that strange. Why not have it as a 12 o'clock kickoff? Or an R12 kickoff. Get people down there as early as possible. Get that game, and that game will either people come in and then fill up. People are going to get. I mean, I'm not. By the way, this is not me like kicking off. I just don't quite understand what people are going to leave. Now, what I would say is maybe it's a strategy for people to leave the stadium slowly for something to do with the transport. No, I'm just spitballing here.
Have a Legends game after every game.
No. But maybe because it is the last test event, maybe it's something to do with the test event application. Because I know they've changed. We saw the thing last week that they had changed it to 2 games.
Yeah.
But I still don't quite understand why you would do it this way. I mean, the pitch isn't going to get destroyed by it for the friendly. So I don't quite understand why you wouldn't have that kicking off, say, 12:30. People come into the ground, and by the time that game's sitting into the second half, the ground is full. I just don't see that many people sticking around, and I think that's slightly disrespectful. I can see people sticking around for the beginning of the game as people come out, but I just find it a little bit weird. If you're going to have 2 games, why not embrace
the main event, the first
exactly
game, isn't it?
So that's like an afterthought, and I just feel that's a bit weird because it will be a long day, And I just don't think people will be like wanting to hang around till say like 7:30. That's strange, that. Anyway.
Bill says Chelsea stockpiling players. They are. Steve P says, do you think Garner's age should really be that much of a factor in giving him more than a year? Because the stats prove his body doesn't match his age. The most tackles in the league for a 35-year-old is insane. I genuinely think he'll be one of those players still playing at the top when he's 40 because he's a freak athlete.
Hopefully, yeah.
If you never know and just watch one of our games, you'd never believe he's 10 years older than James Garner. Plays like he's younger than him. Peter Finn says Luka Jovic is free agent. Would you go? I mentioned him before, didn't I? Yeah, I probably would. 27. Have him in the squad. Depends what his wages are, but why not? Martin says everyone calling Dom crap. Look at his record. It's exactly the same as Dunk's. Only difference is an FA Cup. Thomas says fair enough. And yeah, you're right. Every player, we should always think we can do better. That's what well-run clubs do. I love Beto, but we need better. As fans, I'm guilty of this. We get attached to players too easily. Let's hope we spend the money well now. But we're going to have to do it in stages, Thomas, aren't we? We're not going to be able to go, right, there's a new... It's just not going to happen like that. So it's almost... We're going to have to bridge it. And we'll have to gamble with some. I've seen people talking about, they're not sure about Tieno Barry and Beto, but Beto scored goals last season. He'll score goals again. Barry got 19 and 41 last season across 2 leagues. He scored goals every season. He's a young lad. He's a hard worker off the ball. Okay, his touch mightn't be amazing, but then if his touch was amazing, Everton probably wouldn't have a chance of getting him. So we're going to have to... I keep saying it, and I look at strikers everywhere. I don't see a solution for Everton in terms of going and buying a striker who you know is going to get you 20 goals. There isn't one, because every club would get them if there was. Certainly not for what we can pay, and could we get them here? So, Conrad says, sad to see Dom go and serve the club well. Played with an injury when Benitez was in charge and made it worse. Good luck to Dom, bang the goals in, but have a bad day whenever you play us in the future. Ethan says, also my first live as a Premier member, absolutely love it. All Toffees get on board, it costs as much as a coffee. Cheers, Ped and Baz. Show brings me so much joy. Thank you very much, Ethan. Kind words there. James says, to all the people crying about Dom asking for 170 grand a week at Newcastle last season, he's on 120 now. When was the last time a player moved for a transfer around £20 million that took a pay cut or stayed on the same wages? Every time they've always had a bump in wages. Max says, I just hope we have a bit of a squad for the America tour. The beating by Minnesota still makes me cringe. Should have been in the stadium, mate.
And the buffet wasn't that good.
No.
It wasn't even that good. It wasn't nowhere near as good as the one in Baltimore. No, it was nice. 3 hot dogs. Yeah. I had about 7.
Thomas
says, different time for me.
As much as Keane has let us down at times defensively, he's actually scored some big goals. I really like the lad. The one thing no one can accuse him of is his commitment to Everton. You could tell he really wanted it to work. I think it's just mental with Keane at times. But it is, isn't it? Proving it. Matt says, afternoon, gents. Garner obviously makes sense, but Keane is someone I'd be happy to keep, as it solves me of a bucket load of issues that it will create. As for Dom, best of luck to him. It's right for all parties. Yeah, Conrad says, keep Keane as 4th choice defender. Always pops up with an important goal from time to time. He does, doesn't he? This is the thing with Michael Keane. If he could get that sort of confidence issue sorted, and Willie, I don't know, 32 now, he's not a bad centre-back. The problem is, if he does a couple of things wrong,
confidence.
You see him just
always being his confidence.
It's mad. When he's confident, he can pass a ball. He's good in the air. The problem is him running in behind, but then there's one that doesn't play too far away that can't handle plays running in behind, who people laud as the best. So that isn't a massive issue. And he does weigh in with big goals. I was down at Fulham and he scored the second. From no, and like that was him just in the team because of it. And the injury and Michael Keane's playing and all that. Next when he comes up with a big goal, he was at Newcastle away. back in the team. You know, he
Yeah.
wasn't in the team for Southampton.
No.
Then he's back in at Newcastle. We keep a clean sheet. So when he's on it, he's not a bad centre back at all, Michael Keane. It's the confidence issue, isn't it? That's been the issue. Thomas says Barry's gonna score 20 goals next year and we're finishing top 6. Scientifically, I'm not wrong. All right. Fair play. Fair play. John says we need second choice fullbacks before a fourth choice centre half. Fair play.
Mm.
Steven Seagal says we're not going to miss Dom and we're not going to miss Keane. Okay. Stan says, all right, lads, fan base is deluded. It's a 3-year build to where we want to be. I have no problem with Moyes choosing to stick with what he knows, i.e. Keane for a year and then add again next year window. It's a slow process, mate. I'd like to get to know our team, the club's vision, and don't want a big turnaround every year. This is a big window for us moving forward. We've got to get it right. There is a lot in that, isn't there, in terms of it isn't a one and done, is it? We haven't got a 300 or 400 million to just go bang bang like Chelsea are doing. Even them, they brought in players they brought in. They looked all over the place at times last season. Okay, they picked it up again near the end, but you know, for us, we've got to do it in a calculated manner. It won't be quick enough for some people. We know that, but what we've had over the last few years to where we are now. Myers says Keane seems to pop up with some very important goals. I'd keep him for that reason alone. Could be the difference between finishing 9th and sneaking into the Conference League. Who knows? Jake says Villa's selling the women's team today. All these loopholes clubs are exploiting is grim when we're getting slapped with 10-point deductions mid-season. Didn't have the right people at the club, mate, that's why. Jay Ratcliffe says, cheers, Dom, off your pop. Okay. James Wallen says James Garner also had the conditioning coach. He was training with somebody.
Yeah, idiot.
Well, that's his mate, isn't it? Peter says, good afternoon, lads. Well done on Sky Sports. Ped. Benjamin says, happy birthday, James. Hopefully we get Big Baz up front. Will be good to get one of Little Baz's recommendations for a change. Cheers, Ben. Jay says he's free, but he'll want 250 grand a week at Arsenal. Oh, that's party. Wouldn't want him anyway. Eddie says, y'all, small chance I can't make it to Atlanta. Oh, Eddie, this is turning into like a bit of a soap opera now.
It's a saga.
Just make your decision, mate. Come on. James says, could have had the Legends game on Sunday for people who can't get tickets for the game on Saturday. Plus, they'll run out of food and drink by half time in the first game. That's the positive thinking. Do you reckon James will play?
Oh, he'll still be playing somewhere else, won't he?
Kev Maloney says, Roman Dixon to Roma for 15 million and get a keeper from Roma for 15 million. One hand washes the other.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't work like that.
I mean,
not an F. Yeah, but this is talking about FFP.
Yeah,
it's European football.
Blue Keely says the Roma game isn't sold out already, is it? The app won't let me buy tickets on top tier membership.
No, you can't. Season tickets for a week.
It's only season tickets for a week. Then it's you get your own window.
I want to take me time this week before I get back, buy me ticket.
Do we?
Probably wait till the last minute.
Alex says, Ped, great job on Sky. Talking to a mate in the game, and he said Moyes has a good eye for a player, but is very slow to make his mind up. Diarra off to Sunderland, young lads off England under 21s now. Need to lock in our number 1 picks. Yeah, but he's not negotiating, mate. So, Everton Viking says, hello, gents. I've been giving my yearly ritual of listening to all the old debate videos you used to have. It's my yearly request to bring them back. But now we can have debates about the Martinez years, the Silva, Allardyce and other years. Please and thank you. I missed them. Okay, up for consideration. Because why not? Let's get them done on Prem. Where are we here? No, Trev, the game against Roma is not sold out. If you're a season ticket holder, you've got a week to get your seat, and then it goes to Premier members. What are they called? Like club
members, just members, isn't it?
And then they go on general sale. So no, it's nowhere near. It's only gone on sale this morning. So yeah, So if you're an Everton member and you're trying to buy one, you're not going to
You're
be
not
able
going
to
to buy one.
because they're not on sale yet, basically. So don't worry if you sat there worrying because you can't get a ticket. It isn't sold out. It's just the beginning of the sales. So you just have to be patient. There's not 50,000 season ticket holders, so you've got a good chance of getting tickets for it.
Do you want me to read out what's happening?
Go on.
Right. Season ticket members from 10 a.m. today purchase their own seat. Season ticket members and Forever Blue Plus members, Monday the 7th of July to purchase any remaining available seats. Forever Blue members from 10 a.m. Wednesday the 9th of July to purchase any remaining seats. General sale from 10 a.m. on Thursday the 10th of July, subject to availability. The prices are £25, over 65 to £20, under 18 to £10. General sale, adults £30, over 65 £25, and under 18s £10. There you go.
Joe Adams, it isn't sold out.
I haven't even bought my tickets, so how can it be sold out? And I've got all week.
Joe says he's a season ticket holder. It's not sold out. It's not going to be sold out until they go on general sale. Gavin, yes, I have seen the lad from Millwall. He's not bad. He's not bad, but he'd be number 3 if we were going to buy him.
How old is he?
21, I think. He's not done bad, to be fair. He's good in the air. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether Everton had... Depends how much Millwall want to sell him for. But yeah, that's what it's about. Philip says, I hope Rooney and Ferguson playing the Legends game. You never know. He might.
Like in Dunk's testimonial.
I mean, I think Rooney might. Don't know about Dunk, if he fancies it. And depends how young Roma's Legends are. I'm going to throw all Legends in who are 36 just to get the win.
Wants to improve their FFP.
Yeah. Get an extra bonus. Gavin says, have we got enough players to field the team against Roma?
For both teams?
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine them going to the Legends. Do you want to... Aussie? Fancy a game?
Here, Bo. We will by then. Don't worry about it. Gavin says Diarra to Sunderland is a joke. Why?
Why is it a joke?
They've paid the money. They've paid the money. So why is it a joke? No one else. He was never going... He said he didn't fancy Leeds. I don't know why. But he said that came out of France immediately, that he wasn't interested in going to Leeds. So I'm really interested to know why he's chosen Sunderland. Obviously, Leeds were much better last season than Sunderland. But it's money, isn't it? At the end of the day, you will always get players who are playing in Europe coming to the Premier League. It's why when people go, oh, there's no chance we could get him. There is, of course there is, because if they're not in the Premier League, they want to come here. They might want to move on after a year or two, but you can always get them. And I just think he's coming here. Sunderland, in my opinion, will go down. Because I just don't see any of the 3 staying up. And if he has a good season, a decent season for Sunderland, they'll go down, he'll move on, won't he? He's probably got an escape relegation clause in the contract. And he'll be open. Or Chelsea will be looking, won't he? Because he's at Strasbourg, Todd Bowley, or their consortium, sort of part owns, doesn't he? So they'll be looking and watching it. And if he does all right for Sunderland, Chelsea just buy him next summer. Or if not, someone will come in and do what happened with the lad. If he has a good enough season, he'll probably become 40 million next season, and people will go, he's done really well. Let's buy him.
I was just looking then at if I could find the last time Roma legends played the game. They played the game in 2019, and Totti played. They had who else did they have? Candela, Del Vecchio. But surely if he was going to play in this, he'd be the headline, wouldn't he? They would have led with like he was playing. Anyway, never mind.
But sure, there'll be all sorts of
Of course.
Like confirmation of as they get players to confirm.
Yeah.
And
I know he hasn't. He's not.
Keep giving it
His relationship with Roman has been a little bit stretched, hasn't it, since he left?
Yeah. Stephen Dyer says Diarra getting linked as some replacement for Guy was a joke. He plays nothing like. No, he's an attacking midfielder. Diarra. He's an attacking midfielder. He's not a Idrissa Gana guy kind of midfield player. But we'll see how he does with Sunderland. I think he's a good signing for them. But it's good for him because he gets to play in the Premier League. We can have a look at what he's like. See how he does. An interesting player, definitely. And who knows, if he does well, maybe that'll give people confidence of getting other players like him and being confident they can do it. Kev Maloney says, we did well the last time we bought a young lad from Millwall. We did. Thomas says, I love African football fans and they make the World Cup even better. He says, but African Facebook football fans should be banned. It's Facebook though, isn't it? It's, that's Facebook. That's what happens. Right. That's us. We will obviously, like everybody else, be watching the to see whether there's anything this afternoon on Michael Keane or even Idrissa Gana Gay or Kenny Tete. Who knows? Speaky says all gone quiet on Kyle Walker rumours. Yeah. What about, just very quickly, a couple of other clubs? Where are you with Brentford? Looks like United have sorted Mbumo out. They've lost Thomas Frank. Norsgaard looks like he's off to Arsenal. Mbumo off to United. They've given Keith Andrews the job.
They have.
Martin O'Neill is living the dream. He can't wait to have a go at him. Criticise me, said him, counting the, can't wait to be able to critique him. So what do you think? Do you think they might struggle?
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard to know because they haven't done any business yet. But obviously, they've got a good goalie in. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to watch them this season.
They could be great,
Yeah,
but you just look and go. And Bournemouth are another one. No, they've got a lot of money. The pair of them will have money, but Bournemouth have, 3 of the back 4.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be definitely interesting. Obviously, when any team loses their best couple of players, how did he cope with that? Because they can only remember it was like Southampton, wasn't it, when they started selling all their players, and then they were getting some in, but it stops, doesn't it? Is the lad they brought in last year ready to sort of step up? The lad they got from Belgium, they got the knee injury. Is he ready to step up
for Brentford?
Yeah,
Diego,
and take that role on regularly. Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
And just a couple here. Stephen thinks Sunderland will stay up. Fair play. I don't, but fair play. And I like Sunderland.
And the lad they're bringing in, by the way, Diarra, he's basically replacing.
He's going to replace
Bellingham, isn't he?
But they weren't. They got up in the playoffs this year. Coventry blew it, so I don't see them staying up. And John McCulloch says, what do you think a promoted team has to do to stay up? Finish 17th? If you Mike Cosgrove. I don't know, to be honest, mate. I just think the gulf's just too big. They've got to almost scrap for that first season of survival. And their aim should be 17th. Battle and scrap, learn how to be savvy defensively, nick points, and do all that, and then get them in. Of course, it's not a given. Of course, it isn't, because the cup, you know, anyone could have a poor season in the Premier League. Everton, anyone. Bournemouth, I've just talked about. Brentford, all of these clubs who were down there, Fulham, Palace, you just don't know, could have an off season, and someone has an unbelievable season, and everything goes right. And they scrape, because don't forget, Forest come up and scraped up the first season, just about stayed up, and then done it again, spent a load of money. But it's such a difficult thing that you don't realise how powerful those teams in the Premier League are. And they just keep spending money. So when you come up and they go, they're going to spend 100 million, it's like, so what? Everyone is. So it is really difficult. We'll see. I'm sure someone will do it at some stage, but I just think you look at like Burnley came up last time, and everyone, you know, with company, and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. They won 4 games all season. Last year, it was, you know, look how good Ipswich are, and Southampton play nice footy, you know, and all of this stuff. Leicester are going to do this, that and the other. All 3 were dreadful. Southampton were diabolical, weren't they? Let's be honest, points-wise and stuff. So I just don't think the Championship, doing well in the Championship, doesn't really give you any indication of what it's going to be like in the Premier League. None whatsoever. You can only do what you can do. Win your league and do what, and it creates confidence and all of that. We'll have to see. I think you've got to battle and scrap and try to dog it out for 17th in your first year, and then go again, and then you get a foothold in then, and possibly like do what Forest have sort of done. But and who knows what Forest will do this season?
Yeah,
you know, you don't know. They might be brilliant again. They might drop. You just don't know. There's a lot of variables in that middle bit of the table. Brighton are really good players. Will he be on an on season now? Will he do really well in Europe this season, or will he? So you can't tell really, can you? United, will they go down? No, you can't tell. And I'm sure someone will get it right, but they'll have to battle and scrap. But right now, I look at those 3 and just think Burnley probably look the best out the 3, because defensively they were very good. Yeah. But being defensively very good in the Championship's a different world in the Premier League when you're playing against much better players. But we'll see, won't we? You can never really judge it anyway until September, when you know what everyone's got in the squad. But it's a big ask for them. It just doesn't correlate. The Championship does not correlate to the Premier League, and it showed it the last few years. Teams who've waltzed the Championship have done nothing in the Premier League. In fact, the teams who've sort of play off but with the exception of Southampton, like Luton came up. Luton looked like they were gonna bloody some noses for a while, but still in the end fell way short, didn't he? So it's tough. We keep saying it. It's becoming almost a 23 league Premier League, 23 team Premier League, because 6 look like they might bounce about for a few years. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, right. See you all later for the live on Premier. Take it easy. See you later. Bye.